Good day. So we are now in our week 8 of Knowledge and Philosophical Foundation of Social Work Profession. So this is just a continuation po sa topic natin, no, and helping process. We now moving on, no, to social work helping process, particularly starting on the intervention. Okay, tapos na po tayo sa planning, di ba? And assessment. So ano ba yung intervention, no? It also referred to as action, plan implementation, or treatment. The same lang po yan. Kung yung treatment po, it's more on clinical base, no? Concerned with the action. So, action na talaga kasi may plano na. It involves the rendering of all the specific or yung mga pinagplanuhan natin na assessment and planning. Nare-render mo na po yun into services. It induces all goal-related activities, no? Meron ka ng mga activities. Interventive rules in direct practice in social work. So, ito yung po yung mga roles na ginagampanan, no? This refers to the composite of activities or tasks that the social worker is expected to undertake in order to accomplish the goals agreed upon the client. Social work interventive roles. Resource provider. Ito na po yung kasi ang equivalent kasi nito in models or approaches, social work, direct provision or material aid and concrete resource that will be useful in eliminating or reducing client, no? Concrete resources are mobilized and created and directly provided to the client who is assisting in making optimal use. The direct provision of any form of material aid is social work is always preceding by a careful evaluation. Hindi lang po to yung pagbibigay lang diretso. It must be careful observation, okay? It's not limited on money or goods. It is also has services. Of course, we have social broker. Social worker's role is negotiating the service jungle for the client, whether singly or in groups. Here, in this role, the social worker links or connects the client to the needed services in the community. She often has to perform variety of activities: helper, interpreter, no, facilitator, expeditor, escort, negotiator, to ensure paid service delivery. It includes also referral, essentially involves connecting the client to the needed resources. Also networking refers to the worker's effort at establishing the main and at maintaining relationship with the other communities which have resources that can, no, support and supplement her or own agency resources. We also have interventive rules in direct practice. Mediator. No, it is when a person who acts as an intermediary or conciliator between two persons or side. No? The social worker here, in her work with individual families, groups, communities, the worker often has to engage in efforts that will resolve disputes, okay, between the client system. Sorry. And of course, advocate. The term advocate comes from the legal profession, like lawyer, and the worker has to take partisan interest in the client and his cause. The social worker cannot remain neutral, no? Hindi pwede na wala akong pinapanigan. The objective is to influence in the client's interest another party, usually possessing the same or authority over the client. Advocate will argue, will debate, will bargain, negotiate, and manipulate in the environment on behalf of the client. She even have to utilize non-consensual strategies such as direct confrontation, administrative appeal, no? Nakiki-apila talaga yung social work, and use judicial and political system as appropriate. Enabler, no? Enabler, social workers help clients find the coping strengths. Ini-enable po ng social worker yung mga kliyente and resources within themselves to solve the problems they are experiencing. The client as the primary source, and change comes about mainly through the client's effort. Social worker performs supporting and empowering function so as to enable the clients accomplishing as defined change. We also have counsel or therapies. No? The goal is the restoration, maintenance, or enhancement of client's capacity to adapt or adjust to his current reality. And the other interventive roles of social workers. We have here the mobilizer of community elite. This involves informing and interpreting certain sectors of the community welfare programs and services as well as the needs and the problems with the objective of enlisting their support and involvement. So, minomobilize ng social worker yung mga elite. Ano ba yung mga elite? Elite, this sector of the community is comprised of the individuals and groups who have the position to provide in one way or another the resources the worker needs for the client. No, hindi po ito sa sarili ng worker. The elite would be the professionals who consisted of the well-informed groups with talent and skills. Okay? And of course, documenter, social critic. Social worker documents the needs for more adequate social welfare policies and programs based on her knowledge gained from actual experience about the inadequacies or deficiencies in these existing welfare policies and programs, as well as on her beliefs as to how they ought to be in light of the professional values. Okay? And of course, the policy program change advocate. The term advocate, when used in this interventive role, refers to the social workers becoming involved in efforts to change policies and programs on behalf of a particular group or sector of the population based on his values or profession. The role of the concept requires the social worker to take stand. Hindi pwedeng neutral lang regarding the important issues relating to social welfare policies and programs affecting client populations and argue for or defend his or her proposal. Ito po yung mga limitations sa trabaho ng isang worker: time, skill, ethics, and agency function. Pag oras, no, yung panahon hindi po yun forever, no, unlimited po yan. Skills, ethics, and agency function. Evaluation, no, evaluation is defined as the collection of data about the outcomes of the program. Kasi tapos na tayo sa action po dito, okay? Relative to goals and objectives set in advance of the implementation of the program, no? Mayroon tayong goals dito and objectives, result will be reviewed. We have here the ongoing evaluation, of course, the terminal evaluation. Evaluation, no, it also measures accountability. Another very important reason for doing evaluation is because social worker and social work agency must answer for their work, no? Not just for the clients who are the direct users, but to the public that supports them. There are two aspects of accountability. Epektibo ba yung programa or efficient ba? Evaluation in social work is done in two levels: direct practice with the client and sa program. Ini-evaluate mo yung trabaho mo sa kliyente mo, nakipagtrabaho ka sa kliyente, and sa programa na tinutulong mo sa kliyente, no? Evaluation in social work is directed at the following: measuring the outcomes, measuring the change process, and utilizing research design. Okay? Evaluation models, formative evaluation, no? Evaluation that concerned with looking at the process at work of the form. Summative evaluation, evaluation that is concerned with the outcomes or effectiveness. Formative evaluation, conceptual model, what the social worker agreed to do, and of course, operational level. And of course, qualitative and quantitative measurement, we have the qualitative measures, describe the situation of the client. Ito po yung sitwasyon ng client, qualitative po siya. And quantitative po. So, kumbaga, kung mayroong scale po, kung we are talking about economic aspect ng kliyente, may numero na po, quantitative, okay? Termination, of course, datin sa punto talaga na yung working relationship mo with the client, matatapos yan. Kasi may time frame po yung pagtulong sa client po. Hindi po yun forever. Kasi nga, yung resources natin in social worker is limited lang po. A social work problem-solving relationship does not go on forever. It should be made clear to the client that this engagement is natural conclusion to such relationship, regardless of the nature of the client's problem. The goal of termination, no, to empower the client system, that means that the clients will learn to use his own resources instead of those the social, hindi po umaasa. To manage future difficulties, okay? Na masasagupa niya. The following are the most common reasons for terminating the client, no? When goals had been reached, no? When there is a very little movement toward the attainment of goals. When the client thinks that the worker has provided help. When the agency does not have the resources anymore. So, kailangan lang po i-refer or i-transfer yung case. When the system outside the client make it difficult for the client to continue sa paligid ng client. When for one reason or another, the worker must leave. Nag-leave po yun, no? Transfer, ano po yung kaibahan ng transfer class at saka referral? Pag sinabi po natin transfer, no, meaning it is a process na yung client, no, is nire-refer ng social worker sa another social worker, tina-transfer. Meaning, kliyente na po yung isang tao. Okay, sa transfer. Yung referral po, hindi pa naging kliyente, kaya nga nire-refer siya para maging kliyente siya. Okay? So, it is an act of directing a client to another worker because, okay, ganun po yun. The factor influencing reaction to the client. So, ito po yung mga reaction ng client, no, kung bakit nagkakamero ng reaction yung client sa termination. In the length of service, ang taas ng service, no, napapaklose yung client sa atin. Attainment of the client goal, client working relationship, and the modality of intervention. Component of termination, we have disengagement, stabilization of change, and of course, evaluation. Disengagement, ito yung on the client's part, the following are the among of the most common reaction ng mga kliyente sa atin. Denial, no? It is a defense mechanism that is employed to avoid painful feelings. So, nagdi-denial yung client. Emotional reaction, no? Nagagalit yung client, no? Or it is the fear. Sorry, it is a fear or loss, no? Nagkakameron ng reaction. Bargaining, no? Nakikiusap. Next, nagdi-depress. And lastly, no, ito yung positive na manifestation na sa client in terms of disengagement. Acceptance, tinatanggap ng kliyente na tapos na yung working relationship. And of course, stabilization of change. The main test of change agents' health is the stability and the permanence of the client. So, kailangan talaga stabilize yung kaya. Hindi pwede iwan yung client dyan na nakakalaylay lang yun. No? Kumbaga, naghihingalo pa rin. No? And permanence of the client. So, dapat stable pa rin yung plan. There is a permanence in the intervention or sa helping relationship natin. System change behavior when the client agent is no longer active in working. So, dapat natin tong tignan in terms of termination. The stabilization of change. Okay? We also have the terminal evaluation. Kahit pa nasa termination tayo, there's still need for evaluation. We have the periodic evaluation, no? Allows the worker and the client to review. And of course, the terminal evaluation is the time for the worker and the client, no? But particularly the worker who has been the helping person to appraise what has been transpired, to focus on the goal or goals formulated during the planning phase and the course of the problem that was identified during the assessment phase. Okay? Of course, the client should review what has taken place. He acknowledged the improvement. Hindi lang yung worker yung nag-assess or nag-evaluate, pati kasama na yung client. So, generic problem-solving approach, base-based helping process, no? We have get ready, no? General knowledge of social work, get set, no? So, and go. Get ready, get set. Yan po yung approaches ng social work, no? Be ready, get set, prepare everything, and proceed. Let's go. Okay, so yun lang po, and this is the end of our week 8.